Hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome to my review for the series finale of Dexter New Blood. Let's talk about it. Okay, so 10 weeks in and we're here. We're at this season finale. Has it lived up to expectations or hasn't it? Let's have a quick talk, or maybe a bit longer than a quick talk, about this latest and last episode of Dexter. So it's been a wild ride for 10 weeks. This series has got people talking, and that's fantastic. People speculating on what's going to happen. You know, theories rolling rampant around the internet, which has proved the series has still got its legs, and people still love this character. So this episode catches up with Dexter. Obviously, the bulk of the episode is Dexter gets arrested by Angela. She finds one of Matt's metallic titanium bolts in the fire, and with what she received in a previous episode through the post or put in a letterbox, she puts two and two together and subsequently arrests Dexter. Obviously Dexter's in prison, well, in her cells and being questioned by her. She gets in touch with Angel and she determines, obviously, that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher, blah, blah, blah. All this occurs. This is the fallout of everything. Dexter admits to her about Kurt and sends her off to Kurt's place. She finds all the bodies. Dexter escapes prison by killing Coach. Because he was pulling his gun on him and this sort of a thing, and as we know, at the very end, Dexter is killed by his son, although he guides him into doing it. So yeah, that's the crux of the episode. I'm not going to go story wide beat for beat, but let's talk about the ramifications and what's gone on, and my overall thoughts on this season as a whole and this episode. Now, like everyone else, I didn't want to see Dexter get killed. I'd like for his story to have continued. But I like brave storytelling and I like finality to a series. So this series did give me that finality. It's a fantastic end to the character. It's a sort of bittersweet end, but at the point where he kills Coach, I knew there was no going back for him. I knew at that point it was over for Dexter. And as soon as he met up with Harrison in the woods and Harrison had the gun on the floor, I did say in the last episode review, in the episode where he gave Harrison the gun as a gift, that this was Chekhov's gun, which is a storytelling trope whereby if a gun is seen in a film or in a TV series, then it's going to come into play at some point in the story, and that's exactly what this rifle was. This episode had some great callbacks to the series, some few flashbacks, and you felt Dexter's pain and the love that he had for his son. The emotional core to the episode was fantastic. You did feel the love by the end that he had for Harrison and vice versa, and for Harrison to hopefully continue and have a normal life, Dexter had to die, and Dexter had written this essentially in a letter to him that is read over at the end. It's just so much to unpack really, and a really good episode. And a great end to a really good series. Obviously, when Dexter finished previously in its original run, we didn't get a very thrilling end to the character. So it's great that they've given us this series that has given us that end. You know, Dexter's whole life has led to this, and it's all caught up with him in this episode, and he had nowhere to go. Michael C. Hall was fantastic. You know, his acting was on point, and you know, I'm sure that he came back to give this character, the fans, the finality that this character deserved. Obviously, I would like to have seen the character go on in other series, but then you run the risk of that depletion again, of that, you know, going into silly territory. So yes, give us one final season, give us the death of Dexter. Now, inevitably, there's going to be speculation, and we're going to get a Harrison spin-off and all this sort of stuff. I don't think so. I think, you know, I like to think that Harrison has killed his demons with Dexter, because Harrison does say that the problems were Dexter and not within him. It was Dexter that created the problems within Harrison, and Dexter's leaving him and all this sort of stuff. So I like to believe now that Harrison will go on and just live a quiet, normal life, normal job, family, this sort of thing. And Dexter's story has ended here. Certainly for me, this is where Dexter's story has ended. You know, there's obviously that speculation that if you did have a Harrison spin-off, then Dexter would be his spirit guide, so to speak, like Deb was, who did pop up in this episode a couple of times. But I don't want that. I want it to end here. This is the ending point, you know. And a fantastic series, you know. The character of Angela, you know, she showed herself to be extremely competent by the end of this, with working out all the stuff about Dexter and the Bay Harbour Butcher. But it's right, all the people that have been in Dexter's life and people who've got close to the truth have ended up dying. Dexter's not a good guy. Obviously, he does things. He you know, he's a serial killer essentially. But you know, and there's collateral damage in what he does, and this has been shown throughout the seasons, and thusly, it had to happen. Coach was a fantastic character, and didn't deserve to die at Dexter's hands. It was unfortunate for him, but like I said, at that point in the story, you know, we had to see Dexter end. It was written at that point that, you know, Dexter's now, yeah, he's going to meet his end, his death, so to speak. Yeah, you know, it was sort of bittersweet for Harrison. He didn't get to say goodbye to his girlfriend. It was bittersweet for Angela in that she finally found the truth about all these missing girls. That all came into play. You know, there's elements of the series that characters were introduced and just disappeared. You know, like the rich guy at the beginning, first couple of episodes. That was written so that you didn't have make the direct conclusion that it was Clancy Brown that was the killer. It could have potentially been either one of them. And people still speculated towards the end that Clancy Brown was working in tandem with this fella. But I knew that weren't the case because he just vanished for a considerable amount of time, was getting too close to the end to reintroduce that as a story plot point or element. But yeah, so overall, my final thoughts on this series was fantastic. This was a fantastic episode. So yeah, why don't you tell me your thoughts down below in the comments, what you thought about this episode. Were you happy with the ending that you were given? Are you unhappy with it? But like I said, you got to remember that there's brave storytelling and there's non-brave storytelling. Non-brave storytelling to me is a program where a show leaves it open for a continuation. You know, I don't always like that. That doesn't always work for me. I like to have a finality to something, but sometimes TV shows are reluctant to do this because of the old cash grabbing, and because it works better in syndication if the program is left open to you know, to continuation. I don't know if syndication is even still a thing in America. I don't know how that works, but there you go, because I'm in the UK, so who knows. But anyway, so, you know, once again, if you enjoyed this review, please consider hitting the subscribe button and supporting the channel. I am going to start rewatching all the old Dexters and doing season reviews, overall reviews for them and this sort of a thing. I'll keep it alive because I want to revisit them, and I haven't seen them since they first aired. I do have them on Blu-ray, but yeah, very rarely have I felt the need to revisit. Not because I don't like them, I love them, but just primarily time. But yeah, so anyway, so this is AJ. Thank you for sticking with me through these 10 episode reviews of this fantastic series and fantastic ending to Dexter New Blood. Take care all, and goodbye.